Hey everybody, Gen X Man back with another video for Tabletop Tuesday. Roll for initiative. Don't you love that? As soon as you say that, everybody just snaps to attention like, oh God, scramble for dice. But, point of this video today, this is attempt number 5 to get my thoughts down. The point of the video is that everybody needs to make their game their own. And I thought, what better way for me to give an example of that and to impress that point and to encourage people to go out and make every gaming system and session their own than to show you all my baby. This is the baby. Yes. AD&D 2E Player's Handbook from 1989. In fact, there's an inscription on the inside cover, which you can't see on YouTube. It has my name and has 89 on it. So I bought this thing when it first came out. And as you can tell, it's got some miles, no spine, and it just still smells like old crayon though. It's a beautiful book. You don't need me to tell you that. The font, the blue and the gray and everything. And in fact, when I was trying to make my own version of it, incorporating all my optional rules, I kept that as close as I could in that Word document. I had the blue banners, I had everything. I used Footlight MT Light for the font. I felt that was, as far as free versions of font went, that was close as I could get to it. But anyway, basically, in 2E, you're presented with a system. You got 6 ability scores that cover pretty much everything you're ever going to encounter. But I always felt the need for more nuance. I wanted minutia. I was a solo gamer for, 90% of my time, and nothing thrilled me more than getting into the absolute tiniest details. It was like watching a TV show unfold in front of you. It was great. And the simple baseline version, the 2E version, works. I mean, yeah, there's no complaints. But I wanted more. I wanted to make it my own. So I started looking around and I found this little gem. If you don't have a copy of this, pick it up. It is awesome. This is the Player's Option Skills and Powers. This came out obviously after, and it was the second run of 2E or something like that. I'm not sure what the history of it is, but it takes the ability scores and it breaks them down into 2 sub-ability scores for each score. So you're ending up with, instead of 6 primary abilities, now you got a dozen. And each score covers, you've got your strength score, but then strength gets further subdivided into stamina and muscle. You're like, well, what's the difference? And I'm like, well, stamina, instead of lifting 3 bales of hay, you can lift 1 bale of hay 10 hours long, whereas muscle, you can lift 3 at one time. You're like, oh, okay. And it further subdivides the modifiers, like the plus hit and the plus damage and the weight allowance and so on. They get divided into the appropriate sub-ability score, and every ability score gets this treatment. It's a fantastic resource. It's wonderful. Highly recommend it. But we see how this further customizes the play and the image of the character. So when you're just sitting down and you're saying, let's roll up some characters and throw them in a dungeon, see how long they live, obviously you're just going to go for Amazon Basics, 6 ability scores, let's see what happens. But when you've got a character that you're invested in, and there's a mental image that's important to you, you might consider adding in the sub ability scores. And that goes again to, you are making this your own. You're customizing it in such a way that it is inherent to your own gaming group and what you need out of your game. And moving further from that, I started doing this years and years ago because, as solo play, I wanted more minutia. I wanted detail. And going back and reading those battles, it was fantastic. But some of the ideas and concepts that I started incorporating stuck. Like, for example, you play 2E and you play Call of Cthulhu, you see that the scores and such kind of, there's some overlap. Enough so that you can kind of extrapolate. Like Cthulhu has these scores that I have found absolutely indispensable. Idea, luck, knowledge, those are all, oh goodness. You got a character that's facing down certain death, and this can't happen. Like, you've set up your adventure, and you're like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? Roll luck. That way, You're not fudging. It's just like, oh, luck swoops in and something happens. The wheel falls off the wagon as the axe falls and just misses him and maims him instead or something like that. You get the idea. And players get stuck, and you, the GM, want to give them give them a hint instead of just giving it to them. Have them all roll idea, and whoever gets a successful roll, you tell them. It's just like, hey, you've got this idea or knowledge. From your vast experiences, you've been in this situation before, or you've seen this design of a machine before, and it operates like this, and yeah, you roll knowledge, and you're like, okay. And furthermore, yeah, pulling the sanity uh, stat block from Call of Cthulhu over to 2E was just that was a ray of sunshine. I know depletion of sanity may not seem like a ray of sunshine, but me and the old lady, we have games that focus heavily on aspects of fear and madness and things like that. And in fact, I mean, there's one character in particular, his entire arc could be argued that his dwindling sanity is a reflection of his evolving character. It's fun, it's fantastic. So we oh man, I took out my hat there. Oh no, I'm not bald under that. But anyway, as I was saying, yeah, this is how you start incorporating various rules and making the game your own. You start customizing it, and every house does this. I mean, we all know everybody's got their house rules and their nuances and so on and so forth. But taking it in this kind of direction, I went down a rabbit hole with this in that I started with ability scores, which is why this video is focusing on ability scores, and it snowballed into I'm redoing the magic system, and I tossed out the proficiency system and incorporated Cthulhu's skill system and derived the points from the core stats because, as I said, the Call of Cthulhu and the 2E stats are not dissimilar. So with a little math, you can fudge these together and you can have your own system that does what you want it to do. You don't have to go out and spend $600 on, five different gaming systems to find the one that's just like, oh, it's perfect. Just get some nuance in there and make it your own. And one final point is when you and sometimes the stat block is not enough. Sometimes there's a stat missing that you absolutely have to have. Sometimes they eventually add an appearance stat as a sub ability of charisma. So you finally had a numeric value on how hot or repulsive a character was. So that was kind of fun. That was kind of nice. But then you have stats like Tolkien's Middle Earth. How many times in Lord of the Rings were conflicts resolved by a character unveiling its majesty? Gandalf showing his power as Maiar and just bedazzling everybody and cowing them. Aragorn standing his full height in his kingly demeanor, and people are cowed and like, oh, okay, man. That there isn't you could argue charisma. You could say, well, it's covered under charisma, and it's just like, well, I eventually took there was a stat in the Decipher Lord of the Rings system called bearing. And I was like, that's it. That's the word. That's the perfect one. And I incorporated that for a time in a 2E system that I had set in Middle Earth. And it worked very well because, yeah, I mean, you very rarely use it, so it doesn't disrupt gameplay in any way, shape, or form. And you can, if it's appropriate, it's very much an RP stat. Like if you just like, I'm going to unveil my kingliness and stand at my full height, it's like roll bearing. Yeah, it's kind of like intimidate, but it's not. It's you got to RP it different. But all this is just to show that a system is just a series of suggestions. It says that in the books themselves. So you don't need me telling you that these are here for us to toy with. And I really wanted to just make a video about that. I really just wanted to say, you got this beloved System 2E, and look how much me and all players of the game, look how much we customize this and chisel it and sculpt it into something that is appropriate for our games, for what we like. You know, if you want more war game, you do this. You want more, you know, we all do that. And I just want to put out a video saying like that is the heart and soul of gaming, and these systems that we have are just the most wonderful tools for interacting with each other and telling these stories and rolling the dice and going on epic adventures that we couldn't get just talking. We've got the addition of the random element of the dice and not just what happens with that, but how we react to it and how we sculpt these characters to be exactly what we wanted, and how we sculpt these rules to tell to push things in a way that we wanted to tell these stories. And that's really what it is. But I just wanted to take a hot minute to cover, just jaw for a minute on a tabletop Tuesday. I'd like to do something more robust next week. I feel like this one was just a fireside chat kind of video. So I hope I've entertained you all. And if I have, please feel free to smash that like button. Easy for you, and man, it helps out a ton. And also, I wanted to just say thank you so much for everybody who swung by and viewed my videos and clicked the likes and made the comments and so on and subscribed. My goodness, thank you all so much. I appreciate each and every one of you more than you'll ever know. And I hope to see you again in the next video. But for now, I'm going to sign off and I'm going to go work on something else. So keep rolling. Have a good one.